Good evening, Africa, and good evening to the world. I'm Jojo Zaza, and you're watching DV Real News TV, where we dig deeper, question louder, and never stop seeking the truth behind the headlines. Tonight, we spotlight a story that is sparking debate, disappointment, and even disbelief across Nigeria and the African continent. It's a story that touches the nerve of national pride, industrial growth, and what many are calling a national embarrassment on an international stage. We're talking about the recently concluded China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo held in Changsha, Yunnan Province, a major diplomatic and economic platform where African nations showcased their industries, promoted trade relationships, and displayed the best of their national brands. And what did Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation and largest economy, bring to this global stage?
Let me tell you guys, our booth is as boring as shit. This is Rwanda. Look at how people are crowding Rwanda. They are dancing, they are showcasing their craft, and Chinese people are buying stuff that they don't even know anything about. And this is, okay, there's so many Ethiopia brands that are here. Look at how Chinese people are crowding. They don't even know what they are even buying, but they just want to taste it. See, it's so annoying. I will go to Nigerian booth and show you guys. I've seen Zimbabwe, Uganda, Kenya, Ghana. Like Ghana came with their black soap. They are see, guys, this thing. I'm very, very disappointed. We need to do more. See, I don't even know what to say again.
I am asking, where is the best of Nigeria? I'm done.
Yeah, he's angry because Nigeria pavilion is very scanty. Nothing is here, and he's so angry about what is like the condition of this place. Everywhere is very empty. Can you guys see? Very empty compared to other African pavilions. They have so many things. Do you know how angry? Look at what they brought. Slippers. And slippers.
Groundnuts, cashew, and Gary. That's right, 3 raw or semi-processed agricultural products. That was the sum of Nigeria's representation in a trade show filled with advanced technology, innovative industrial products, and bold, branded merchandise from across the continent. What happened? Where are Nigeria's tech startups, its textile giants, its fashion designers, agro-industrial processors, its Nollywood content, its automotive startups and consumer electronics firms? What happened to Nigeria's national brands? Tonight, we dig deeper, not just into what was shown at the China-Africa Expo, but into what was missing, why it matters, and how it reflects the broader failures in Nigeria's industrial and economic strategy. This is not just a story about Gary and groundnuts. It's a story about vision, or the lack of it. Changsha, China. The air buzzed with opportunity. From the bustling exhibition floors to high-level investment panels, African nations pitched their value propositions to Asia's economic juggernaut. Kenya dazzled with its vibrant fashion and ecotourism innovations. Ethiopia showcased processed coffee products and renewable energy solutions. Rwanda unveiled digital services, mobile payment apps, and agricultural automation prototypes. South Africa's booth resembled a high-tech supermarket, complete with branded wines, packaged ready-to-eat meals, automotive components, and health supplements. But Nigeria, 3 wooden tables, each displaying a handful of groundnuts, sacks of Gary, and tubs of cashew nuts, with no visible branding, no corporate representation, and no compelling narrative to sell. For a nation often dubbed the giant of Africa, the sight was jarring. It left many asking, is this the best we can do? Is the sum total of Nigeria's industrial output, on an international stage, limited to raw agricultural produce? More importantly, is this how we want to be perceived by foreign investors and trade partners? To understand how we got here, we must first understand what the China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo represents. The China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo, what it is, why it matters. Established in 2019, the China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo, CAITI, is the flagship platform under the China-Africa Cooperation Framework. Hosted every 2 years in Changsha, it provides an avenue for bilateral trade, industrial cooperation, and diplomatic engagement. It's not a cultural show, it's a strategic economic engine. Over 1,500 enterprises from across Africa and China participated in this year's event, which featured a technology transfers, a infrastructure investment forums, a B2B matchmaking, and national brand pavilions. The stakes were high, the audience global, the message simple: show us what you're made of. And sadly, when it was Nigeria's turn to show the world what we're made of, the display was shockingly thin. As one social media commentator bluntly put it, while others showcased industries, we brought snacks. Let's now move into the deeper layers of this unfolding story. Now, let's be clear, Nigeria is not lacking in talent, resources, or even market potential. What it's lacking, according to analysts, economists, and stakeholders, is a unified industrial policy and the political will to execute it. Let's take a moment to step back. How does a nation that boasts over 200 million people, a $477 billion GDP, and a history of entrepreneurship end up with nothing but unbranded agricultural exports at a global expo? To help us understand this, we spoke with Dr. T.B., a development economist and former policy advisor at Nigeria's Ministry of Industry, Trade, and Investment. According to Dr. B., and I quote, "Nigeria has no coherent export development strategy. Our manufacturers and MSMEs face logistical nightmares. We haven't built a structure to take local products to the global market. And frankly, what we saw was the result of bureaucrats, not business leaders, driving economic representation." Dr. B. expand. While countries like Rwanda or Ghana brought in private sector players, companies that had brands, packaging, marketing, and international readiness, Nigeria's presence was dominated by civil servants and political appointees. And they simply packed whatever was convenient: gari, groundnuts, cashew, with no real export pipeline or branding strategy. Strong words, and they echo a growing chorus from Nigeria's private sector. Many feel locked out of the national export narrative, despite being the real drivers of value creation. This is the question: where are the Nigeria's industrial giants? Think of Nigerian brands that have global potential. A Dangote Cement, a Pan-African construction powerhouse. Innocent Motors, Nigeria's first indigenous automobile manufacturer. A Flutterwave, a billion-dollar fintech unicorn. A Wakanao, a travel tech brand operating in multiple markets. A Zarin and House of Tara, successful cosmetics brands. A Nollywood Studios, with distribution in the US, UK, and Latin America. A Dano, Kai, and Wright Foods, with fast-moving consumer goods ready for export. None of them were officially represented. No branded electronics. No packaged FMCG products. No fashion houses. No local processors or agrotech firms. Just raw nuts, an agricultural model reminiscent of colonial Nigeria. As veteran economist Dr. P.U. lamented in a recent op-ed, him said, "We've become exporters of what we eat, not of what we make." So, where are these Nigerian brands? Many say they were never even invited. What you're hearing is a painful truth. Nigeria's trade diplomacy is often out of touch with its entrepreneurial reality. What should have been a platform for brand Nigeria became a display of survival farming. According to our investigation, over 70% of Nigeria's delegation to the China-Africa Expo were public sector officials, many with no direct experience in export trade or industrial investment. Multiple sources confirmed that, and no national SME directory was consulted, and no competitive bid was opened for product representation, and no sectoral associations were engaged in curating Nigeria's booth. One diplomat who requested anonymity described it as a glorified travel trip for disconnected officials. The missed opportunity. When a Chinese investor visits your country's booth and sees unbranded, unpackaged groundnuts, what impression do they leave with? Compare that to Ghana's kiosk, where they presented ready-for export chocolate bars, cocoa butter lotion, music streaming apps, and youth-made clothing lines. Even smaller economies like Lesotho and Djibouti brought digitized pitch decks, QR codes for trade contacts, and bilingual promotional brochures. Nigeria, by contrast, looked frozen in 1976. Nigeria stands at a crossroads. According to the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, plan, intra-African trade could grow by 33% by 2035, lifting tens of millions out of poverty. But to benefit, Nigeria must transition from commodity exportation to value-added manufacturing. Without this pivot, a youth unemployment will deepen. A forex reserves will remain under pressure. And Nigeria's relevance in future trade blocs will diminish. The reactions on social media wall, tweets and posts, I quote, "This isn't a joke. It's a trade tragedy. We're the joke at a serious table. Who picked the items for China? What process? What accountability? Ghana's booth looked like Europe. Ours looked like 1970 Village Fair. No one showcased Nollywood, or even indigenous tech. We don't deserve this shame. The internet does not forget, and international investors don't either. Nigeria's absence from the industrial map at this expo speaks louder than any speech. It says, we are not ready. But must it stay this way? The path forward. Here's what experts are now demanding. A national export pavilion authority to coordinate Nigeria's appearances at all global expos. Private sector-led delegations, not ministries, but entrepreneurs. Investment in branding, from labels to language to logistics. Regional representation. Every geopolitical zone must showcase a flagship brand. Diaspora inclusion. Include Nigeria's global business ambassadors in shaping our message abroad. The China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo should have been a springboard. Instead, it became a symbol of stagnation. But it doesn't have to end there. We are not just a nation of Gary and groundnuts. We are a nation of ideas, resilience, art, innovation, science, and ambition. It's time the world saw that Nigeria. And more importantly, it's time we made sure our own leaders see it first. From the studios of DV Real News TV, we ask, what version of Nigeria are you promoting? Because the world is watching. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jojo Zaza. Stay alert, stay informed, and never stop asking the hard questions. Good night.